Hold up, every pony. We're about to start right now. Okay, hello, every pony. So today we are starting a new read today, and we will be reading the Epicurus Reader. And this book is shorter than the other books that I've been reading. So we're just gonna get started on this real quick. I have heard his name so fucking much. Epicurus this, Epicurus that, Epicurus my dick in your ass. Like, it just is not. I finally am gonna understand what's the hype about this guy because like, what is the hype about this fucker? I genuinely do not know the hype of him. So we will be finding out right now. And I just hope this is a good read. I hope this isn't bullshit. Let me grab a pencil. Yo, what's up, P6Ls? Who? The Epicurus Reader. The Epicurus Reader is who? How you doing, P6Ls? You having a good day? Alright, so the Epicurus Reader. Holy fuck. This is a long ass. I'm at the hospital, so I'll join in a bit. I hope everything goes good for you, little pup. How about you? I've been awesome sauce kitty cats. I just haven't been home for a little bit. But now we're back. Okay. It says the ancient biography of Epicurus. Text 1. The life of Epicurus, Diogenes Laertius 10.1-16 selections. Epicurus, son of Neocles and Cheristrati, was an Athenian citizen of the deme Gargetus and of the clan Philidae. What the fuck are these long ass names? Philidae. According to Metrodorus in his On Noble Birth, it is said especially by Heraclitus in his summary of Socian that he was raised on Samos after the Athenians sent colonists there, that at 18 years of age he went to Athens when Xenocrates was in charge of the Academy and Aristotle was spending time in Chalcis, that he went to join his father in Colophon, when Alexander of Macedon had died, and Persidius expelled the Athenians from Samos too, that he spent some time there and gathered students around him, then gathered to Athens, or then returned to Athens again in the archonship of Anaxicrates 307 to 306 BC, and that up to a certain time he philosophized in conjunction with the others, and later developed a system which bears his name and taught his own distinctive views. He himself says that he began to practice philosophy when he was 14 years old. Apollodus, the Epicurean, says in Book 1 of his Life of Epicurus that he turned to philosophy because he was contemptuous of the school teachers for not being able to interpret for him the lines about chaos in Hesiod. Hermippus says that he had been a grammar teacher, but that came across Democritus treatises, and threw himself headlong into philosophy. There is abundant evidence of the fellow's unsurpassed kindness. Hello, Alessandro, how are you doing? To all men, his country honored him with bronze statues. His friends were so numerous that they could not be counted by entire cities. All his followers were transfixed by the siren song of his teachings, except Metrodorus of Stratonicia, who went over to Carnides, overburned perhaps by his unsurpassed acts of goodness. Through nearly all the others had died out, His succession has always persisted, one student following another, in a numberless sequence of leaders. Have you done anything cool recently, Alessandro? And there is his gratitude to his parents, kindness to his brothers. Wait up, sorry, I'm putting this down. Wait up. Gratitude to his parents, kindness to his brothers, and gentleness to his servants, as is clear both from the provisions of his will and from the fact that they joined him in philosophizing, that most notable being the aforementioned Mus. In a word, he was a friend to all mankind. His piety to the gods and love for his country were too great for words. So gentlemanly was he that he did not even participate in political life, and despised the severely troubled times, the afflicting Greece. He lived out his life there, traveling through Ionia 2 or 3 times to see friends, and friends came to him from all over, and lived with him in the garden, as Apollodorus too says, and he brought in for 80 minas Diocles says in book 3 of his summary that they lived very simply and frugally. At any rate, he says, they were content with a half-pint serving of weak wine, and generally their drink was water. And that Epicurus did not think it right to put one's possessions into a common fund, as did Pythagoras, who said, friends, possessions are common. For that sort of thing is a mark of mistrust, and if there is mistrust, there is no friendship. In his letter, he himself says he is content with just water and simple bread. And he says, send me a little pot of cheese so that I can indulge in extravagance when I wish. This was the character of the man who taught that pleasure is the goal. Okay, wait up, I just had to write that shit down. According to Diocles, he was most impressed by Anaxagoras among early philosophers, although he opposed him on some points, and by Archelaus, Socrates' teacher, he used to train his followers. Diocles says even to memorize his treatise. Apollodorus in his chronology says that he studied under Nausiphanes and Praxiphans. He himself denies it and says in the letter to Eurylochus that he is self-taught. He denies that there ever was a philosopher named Leucippus, and so does Hermarchus. Some, including Apollodorus and the Epicurean, say that Leucippus was Democritus. Teacher Democritus of Magnesia says that he studied under Xenocrates too. So wait, what the fuck? I'm trying to understand what the fuck. Ariston says in his Life of Epicurus that he copied the canon straight out of the tripod of Nausiphanes, under whom he also says he studied in addition to Pamphilus, the Platonist, in Samos, and that he began to philosophize at the age of 12 and found his school at the age of 32. He was born according to Apollodorus in his chronology, in the 3rd year of the 109th Olympiad, in the archonship of Sosigenes 341 BC, on the 7th day of the month of Gamaliel, 7 years after Plato's death. When he was 32, he first found a school in Mytilene and Lampsacus, and stayed for 5 years. Then he moved to Athens and died there in the 2nd year of the 127th Olympiad, in the archonship of Pythagoras, 271 to 270 BC. At the age of 72, Hermarchus, son of Agamortus of Mytilene took over the school. He died of kidney stones, and Hermarchus too says in his letter, after an illness of 14 days at the point of Hermippus, also says he got into a bronze bathtub filled with warm water, asked for unmixed wine, and tossed it back. He then bade his friends to remember his teachings and died thus. The extant letter. The following three letters are preserved because Diogenes Laertius included them in his biography. They are the most important surviving evidence for the philosophy of Epicurus. The letter of Herodotus, text 2, is a summary of physical doctrine. The letter of Monachus, text 4, is an even briefer summary of ethics. The authenticity of the summary of meteorology in text 3, letter to Pythocles, has been questioned, but we regard it as genuine. Text 2, letter to Herodotus, Diogenes Laertius, 10.34-83. Epicurus to Herodotus, greetings. For the sake of those Herodotus who are unable to work out their precision each and every detail of what we have written on nature, and who lack the ability to work through the longer books, I have myself prepared an adequate summary of the entire system to facilitate the firm memorization of the most general doctrines, in order that at each and every opportunity they may be able to help themselves in the most important issues, to the degree that they retain their grasp on the study of nature. Even those well advanced in the examination of the universe must recall the outline of the entire system. And this outline is structured according to basic principles, for we frequently need the overall application of the intellect, but not as often as the detailed application. Oh my god, hi Ruby. How are you doing, Ruby? Also, I think I might start playing Genshin on stream to save for Odette or Vodyanitsa. What do you think? Who should I get? You just posted a TikTok. Would you stop by for the Genshin? Ooh, bro, we gotta hop on some Genshin on a real spill. I might either do it on like, I'm thinking of Odette, but I also have Sandrone. Is she good? If she's good with Sandrone, I might get her. No, but I was rather thinking of Vodyanitsa because she sings. Even though it's fraudulent singing, I love her. Okay, we might have to get Odette then. I haven't pulled since Sandrone, but I guess I'll just hello from Tel Aviv. Hello, Carthival. Oh shit, I forgot to turn on my multi-chat. Genuinely, my English is not good enough to understand. Yo, I'm dead ass bug and I'm so sorry. There we go. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, we're gonna continue the read real quick. And I'll get back to you on that. I'll text you, Ruby. Okay. We must then approach those general points continually and get into our memory an amount of doctrine sufficient to permit the most vital application of the intellect. To the facts, moreover, complete precision on detailed points will be discovered if the general outlines are comprehensively grasped and remembered. For even the fully expert student of physics gets as the most vital benefit of complete precision the ability to make nimble use of his application, and this would happen in every point, where united in a set of simple principles and maxims, for it is not possible to know the concentrated results of our continuous overview of the universe, unless one can have in oneself a comprehensive grasp by means of brief maxims, of all that might also be worked out in details with precision. Since the kind of method is useful to all those who are concerned. With the study of nature, I recommend constant activity in the study of nature, and with this sort of activity, more than any other, I bring calm in my life. That is why I have composed for you this type of summary statement of the basic principles of the entire set of doctrines. First, Herodotus, we need to have grasped what is denoted by our words. so that by referring to what they denote, we can make decisions about the objects of opinions, investigation of puzzlement, and two, so that all of these things will not remain undecided, as they should, if we try to give an infinitely long demonstration, and three, so that our words will not be empty. 38. For it is necessary that we look in the primary conception corresponding to each word, and that is stand is no need of demonstration. Hey Lukoslav, how are you doing? If that is, we are going to have something to which we can refer the object of search, or puzzlement and opinion. Again, it is also necessary to observe all things in accordance with one's sense perceptions, simply according to the present applications, whether of the intellect or of any other of the criteria, and similarly to observe everything in accordance with our actual feelings, so that we can have some sign by which we may make inferences about what awaits confirmation and what a non-evident, and about the non-evident. I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good, bro, Chacho. Thank you for asking. Have you done anything new recently? After distinguishing these points, we must next arrive at a general view about the things which are non-evident. The first point is that nothing comes into being from what is not. For in that case, everything would be coming into being from everything, with no need of seeds. And if that which disappears were destroyed into what is not, all things would have been destroyed, since that into which they have dissolved does not exist further, the totality of things has always been just like it is now, and always will be, for there is nothing for it to change into. For these for there exists nothing in addition to the totality which could enter into and produce the change. I finally started ranked matches with Clerk. When is the new season starting? I think I'm probably gonna do some IDV tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna do some IDV tomorrow, like on a real last note. And then we are also going, like, just so I can start playing the game again. And we're gonna bring Pagey with us. Moreover, the totality is made up of bodies and void, for in all case sense perception itself testifies that bodies exist. And it is by sense perception that we must infer by reasoning what is non-evident, as I already said. And if there do not exist that which we call void in space, an intangible nature, bodies would not have any place to be in or move through, as they obviously do more, beyond their two things, viz., bodies and void. Nothing can be conceived either by a comprehensive grasp or analogously to things so grasped, at least not if we mean grasped as complete natures rather than as what are termed properties or. Give me 1 second, we're annotating. Properties or accidents of these two things. Further, among bodies, some are compounds and some are those things from which compounds have been made. And these are atomic and unchangeable, if indeed they are not all going to be destroyed into not being, but will remain firmly during the dissolution of compounds, which full by nature and not being subject to dissolution in any way or fashion. Consequently, the principles of bodies must be atomic natures. Moreover, the totality is unlimited, for what is limited has an extreme, but an extreme is seen in constant to something else. So that since it has no extreme, it has no limits. But since there has no limits, it would be unlimited and not limited. Further, the totality is unlimited in respect of the number of bodies and the magnitude of the void. For if the void were unlimited and bodies limited, bodies would not come to a standstill anywhere, but would move in scattered fashion throughout the unlimited void. Give me 1 second. Since they would like any okay, wait up. Cancel any would void since they would lack anything to support them or check them by collision. But if the void were limited, the unlimited bodies would not have a place to be in. In addition, the bodies which are atomic and full, from which compounds both come to be and into which they are dissolved, are ungraspable when it comes to the differences among their shapes. For it is not possible that so many differences in things should come to be from the same shapes, having been comprehensively grasped, and for each type of shape there is, quite simply, an unlimited number of similar atoms. But with respect to the differences, they are not quite simply unlimited, but only ungraspable. And the atoms which can move continuously for all time, some recoiling far apart from one another upon a collision, and others by contrast, maintaining a constant vibration when they are locked into a compound or enclosed by the surroundings, atoms of a compound. This is the result of the nature of the void, which separates each of them and is not. The scholiasts add, this is also in Book 1 of the On Nature and in Book 14 and 15, as well as the major summary. Scholarist, a bit later, he also says that division does not go on infinitely. And he says, since the qualities change unless one intends simply to extend them indefinitely with respect to the magnitudes too. The Scholian is probably corrupt and the sense is unclear. Scholiast, and he says a bit later that they also move with equal speed since the void gives an equal yielding lack of resistance to the lightest and to the heaviest. Able to provide any resistance, and their actual solidity cause their rebound vibration to extend during the collision as far as the distance which the entanglement of the compound permits. After the collision, there is no principle of these entities, since the atom and the void are eternal. If all these points are remembered, a maxim as brief as this will provide an adequate outline for developing our conceptions about the nature of what exists. Moreover, there is an unlimited number of cosmoi, and some are similar to this one, and some are dissimilar. For the atoms, which are unlimited, as was shown just now, are also carried away to very remote distances. For atoms of this sort, from which a world might come to be, or by which it might be made, are not exhausted in the production of one world, or any finite number of them. Neither worlds like this one, nor worlds unlike them. Consequently, there is no obstacle to the unlimitedness of worlds. Further, there exist outlines, images, idola, which are similar in shapes to solids, only much finer than observed objects, for it is not impossible for such compounds to come into being in the surrounding environment, nor that there should be favorable opportunities for the production of hollow and thin films, nor the effluences should retain the relative position and standings order that they had in the solid objects. These outlines we call images. Further, since their movement through the void occurs with no conflict from atoms, which could resist them, it can cover any comprehensively graspable distance in an inconceivable short time. For the presence and absence of resistance takes on a similarity to slowness and speed. The moving body itself, however, cannot reach several places at the same time. Speaking in terms of time, contemplated by reason, for that is unthinkable. Yet, when considered as arriving in perceptible time from any point at all in the unlimited, it will not be departing from the place from which we comprehensively grasp its motion as having come from. Or it will be like resistance, even if to this point we leave the speed of the movement free from resistance. The retention of this basic principle too is useful. Next, none of the appearances testifies against the theory. 5. Scholiast. He says a bit later that there are not even any qualities in atoms except shape and size and weight. In the 12 basic principles, he says that their color changes according to the arrangement of the atoms, that they cannot have every magnitude at any rate an atom has never been seen with sense perception. This read is a bit interesting. They're just low-key fucking talking about like shit I can't even fucking understand. I'm like at a loss of words, not even gonna cap. Like, what the fuck are we genuinely some talking about? Worlds and this, that, the other. Like, I kinda get it. I mean, I wrote down some of the things. I'm not written them down, but I've like annotated the text a bit when he's talking about. I need to look up what a cosmoi is. I deadass don't know what a cosmoi is, like on a real ass note. Like the fuck is a cosmoi? I'll be your one up girl. Okay, guys, so we are about to start the stream for what is that shit called? Splatoon. I'll be right back.